Hello students, today we will discuss about electric field due to an infinitely long straight uniformly charged wire. Let us consider a wire which is infinite in length. We have to find the direction of electric field due to this infinitely long straight uniformly charged wire. So we will consider the two small portion of this wires P1 and P2. These are called length elements. Now if we have to find the direction of electric field at point P, then at point P, the electric field due to length element P1 will be along P1 to P, and electric field due to length element P1 is denoted by E1, and electric field due to length element P2 at point P is denoted by E2. Point P is at equal distance from P1 and P2. Therefore, the magnitude of E1 and E2 will be same. Since the length elements are of equal size, so charge on this length element and this length element, that is P1 and P2, will be same. Since charge is same and these are at equal distance from point P, therefore E1 and E2 will be equal. Now when we resolve E1 into two components along x-axis and along y-axis, that is horizontal component and vertical component. The component of E1 along horizontal direction will be along this direction, and vertical component will be along this direction. Similarly, the component of E2 along horizontal direction will be along this direction, and vertical component will be along this direction. So horizontal component, the magnitude of horizontal component will be same, but direction is opposite, so they cancel out each other. There will be net electric field at point P due to vertical components. Horizontal components cancel out each other. So net electric field at point P will be along R, and it will be radially outward. So at P, net electric field is along OP, that is radially outward. Now we will find the electric field, the magnitude of electric field due to this wire. So we will consider a Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface is that surface at every point of which electric field intensity has same value. So here we will choose a cylindrical Gaussian surface. There are three surfaces, surface 1, 2 and surface 3. The electric field due to this straight uniformly charged wire is radially outward, denoted by E. Here n cap is the unit vector normal to the surface. For surface 1, n cap is along this direction towards the left, for surface 2 towards right, and for curved surface the unit vector of area vector is normal to the surface, denoted by n cap. We will consider a small area ds on the curved surface. The electric field and area vector, unit vector of area vector, are parallel to each other on the curved surface, and for surface 1 and 2 the unit vector of area vector and electric field are normal to each other, or we can say that no electric field lines are passing through the surface 1 and 2. Electric field lines only passes through the curved surface. So surface 1 and 2 will not contribute to the total electric flux. Total electric flux will only be due to the curved surface. So the direction of electric field at any point on the curved surface is normal to the wire and curved surface. The electric flux over curved surface is given by integral of E dot ds. The angle between E and area vector is 0. So this will be equal to EDS cos 0 or equal to EDS. E is constant, so it is taken out of integration. There will be integration of ds. Integration of ds means total curved surface area, which is equal to 2 pi r, curved surface area of a cylinder. Now flux through flat part, that is lid of the cylinder, the angle between E and area vector is 90 degree. So E dot ds is equal to 0, means flat surface 1 and 2 will not contribute to the electric flux. Total electric flux through the Gaussian surface is therefore E dot ds, closed integral of E dot ds is equal to E into 2 pi RL. Using Gauss law, total electric flux through the closed surface is equal to 1 upon epsilon naught times charge enclosed by the surface. So total electric flux we have calculated, which is equal to E into 2 pi RL, and charge we can calculate by this formula. Lambda is equal to Q upon L. L is the length of the Gaussian surface, so Q equal to lambda into L. So E into 2 pi R L equal to lambda L upon epsilon naught. So E equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught R. So electric field is inversely proportional to R. This is the field due to linear charge distribution, that is uniformly charged wire at a distance R from the wire. If wire is positively charged, the electric field is directed away from the wire, and if it is negatively charged, then it is directed towards the wire. That is, if this is your wire and it is positively charged, positive charge is distributed uniformly over it, then electric field will be radially outward. And if it is negatively charged, then electric field will be radially inward. Now electric field due to a uniformly charged spherical shell. If a positive charge is uniformly distributed of a surface of a shell is hollow from inside, let this is a hollow spherical shell and a positive charge is distributed over its surface, and let this total charge is equal to plus q, and its radius is r. We have to find the electric field due to this uniformly charged spherical shell. First we will find the electric field outside the shell. So we will consider a point P outside the shell, and we will choose a Gaussian surface S1. which is passing through this point. Then consider a small area element on this Gaussian surface whose area is ds. This is the small area element. Now at this point, electric field due to the shell is E, directed radially outward. Unit vector of area vector is n cap, and r is the position vector of point P. R cap is the unit vector along R. O is the center. So according to Gauss theorem, total electric flux over a closed surface S, that is E dot ds, equal to surface integral of closed surface E ds r cap dot n cap. The electric field vector E is equal to E into r cap. E is the magnitude, r cap is the direction. Ds vector is written as ds into n cap. N cap is the unit vector along area vector. So r cap and dot n cap, this will be equal to 1. Dot product of two unit vectors and both are along same direction. So r cap dot n cap is equal to mod of r cap mod of n cap cos of 0. So it will be equal to 1. And this is equal to total charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. So total charge inside the Gaussian surface S1 is equal to plus Q. So this is Q upon epsilon. Now E is taken out of integration because E is constant. E has the same value over the surface S1. So it is taken outside the integration. There will be integration of ds only. So we can write E into 4 pi r square is equal to Q upon epsilon naught. So E is equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square. So this is the electric field at a point outside the shell, which is the same as that of a point charge. Electric field due to a point charge placed at a distance r from observation point. It means electric field due to a shell, uniformly charged spherical shell, behave as if the entire charge is concentrated at the center of the shell. Next is at a point on the surface of the shell. So we have found the electric field at a point outside the shell. E is equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Now if observation point lies on the surface, then r becomes equal to capital R. So put r equal to capital R, we will get E equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square. If sigma is the surface density of charge on the shell, then sigma equal to Q upon 4 pi r square, charge upon surface area. So Q equal to sigma 4 pi r square. When we put this value, put the value of Q at here, we will get E equal to sigma upon epsilon naught. Sigma is constant, epsilon naught is also constant, so electric field will be constant. Next is at a point inside the shell. When observation point lies inside the spherical shell. Now here the Gaussian surface is inside the shell. This is our observation point P, lies inside the shell, and capital R is the radius of the shell. So when Gaussian surface lies inside the shell or observation point is inside the shell, charge is outside the Gaussian surface. No charge lies inside the Gaussian surface. So as charge inside the shell is 0, therefore according to Gauss theorem, E dot ds, E into 4 pi r square is equal to Q upon epsilon naught since no charge is enclosed by the Gaussian surface, so Q will be equal to 0. So we will get E equal to 0 inside the shell, uniformly charged spherical shell. Hence the electric field inside uniformly charged spherical shell is 0 at all points inside the shell. Now if we study the variation of electric field intensity with distance from the center of a uniformly charged spherical shell, then the shape of the graph will be like this. Here spherical shell, this is spherical shell. Here is the center of the shell, and here we take electric field along y-axis, distance along x-axis. So from center of the shell to the surface of the shell, that is inside the shell, electric field is 0, and on the surface, that is when R equal to capital R, electric field is maximum sigma upon epsilon. And after that, outside the shell, the electric field varies inversely as R square. Similarly, on this side, from the center of the shell to the surface, electric field is 0. At the surface, electric field is maximum, and after that, outside the shell, E is inversely proportional to R square. Next is electric field intensity due to a thin infinite plane sheet of charge. So this is our thin sheet of charge, uniformly charged sheet. Let sigma be the surface charge density on the sheet. So we will choose a Gaussian surface S1. This is a cylindrical surface passing through the sheet, and S2 is the thin infinite plane sheet of charge. Now electric field due to this sheet will pass through the surface 1 and 2. Normal to surface 1 and 2. There is no electric field lines passing through this curved surface. So surface 1 and 2 will contribute to the electric flux. Let delta S be the surface area of these cross section. So here also the cross section area of cross section is delta S, and there will be charge, positive charge over this cross section, and due to this charge there will be electric field E here, and for surface 2 electric field E is here. So total electric flux will be only due to surface 1 and 2. Curved surface do not contribute to the electric flux. So electric flux over these edges is equal to 2 times E delta S, since the angle between electric field and unit vector is 0. Total electric flux will be only due to surface 1 and 2. So total electric flux is equal to 2E delta S. And according to Gauss theorem, this is equal to Q upon epsilon naught. Now if sigma is the surface charge density, then sigma equal to Q upon delta S. So Q equal to sigma delta S. Therefore 2E delta S is equal to sigma delta S upon epsilon naught. Therefore E will come out to be sigma upon 2 epsilon naught. This shows that field is uniform and does not depend upon distance r. As there is no r in this formula, it does not depend upon distance. And sigma is constant, epsilon r2 is also constant, so electric field will be uniform. This is uniform only as long as the sheet is large, infinitely large, as compared to its distance from Q.